Hello, everybody. This is Terry Art with College Transition Publishing. Thank you for joining us on this video series regarding community college orientation programs. Our guest today is Tanya Bierman. Tanya, thank you for joining us today to talk about your new white paper.
Terry, thanks. It's my pleasure to join you today.
Awesome. So, you've written a book, Life During Community College. It's been out here for a couple of years, and I know there's campuses across the country. Students as well are using it to help advance their experience and their advancement in college, as well as beyond. Moving into the four-year college or into a career, you kind of discuss it all in the book. So I'm curious, when you came out with this white paper on how to start an orientation program. So I'm curious, why write that paper after the book?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been at this for approximately 10 years, and each year we evaluate how things have gone and what types of things do we need to tweak and all of that. And I think back to 2008 when we started this process of making this a course on our campus. We didn't have guidelines to follow. We didn't have a framework in place to help expedite the process and make it, smooth and easy for us to know, what are the things what do we not know? What is it that we don't know that we need to be considering in developing this course? And so over those 10 years, we've kind of looked at, there's some different aha moments we've had along the way. To say, hey, here's something that we need to consider. And then, of course, some of the different topics we talk about you can't avoid, like figuring out how to pay for it and that kind of thing. But really to kind of get people thinking about what are some options and to share, different things that have worked for us.
Yeah, and certainly going across the country, speaking at different conferences. You've been numerous regional conferences, national ones, as well as with me. The trend of starting an orientation program on a community college level is still fairly new. I mean, you've been doing it for a number of years, but there's still people that come up and say, how would I start something? Why would a community college do this? So what I'd like to do is literally take a moment, and granted, everybody who's watching this can get a copy of this white paper and go through it in detail, but I really want to get your feedback on the 5 points that you put together on this white paper about how to get the initial starts, going on a program, if that's fine.
You bet. Yeah, let's tackle those 5 items.
Okay. So the first one is, the title of the paper is Launching a Community College Orientation Program, 5 Steps to Success. So the first one you hit on is research. Certainly, leveraging the people around you who have done it, don't recreate the wheel, things of that nature. But obviously that was different when you were creating your program 10 years ago. But what type of research? What are people going to be looking for that you mentioned in this paper?
Well, I would suggest different professional organizations that do have a focus on the first year experience, and particularly those that have information on working with community college students. We find that pretty important, and that area, was lacking 10 years ago. So it's nice there are a lot more people focusing on that. Another area that we did rely on was maybe some information on different listservs or other student services groups like TRIO groups. Obviously researching what other resources are out there too that we could include. And also over the 10 years, we've also utilized our student surveys. We survey the students each term in each course. And I would suggest that we not forget, our customers in all of this, and as we look at overall long-term development of the courses to see what they feel was helpful or not.
Great, good feedback. And I know you listed a number of organizations and stuff in the white paper. Certainly, people can go there into those domains and see some of that information as well. Number 2 on the list was envision your team. Certainly when you're creating a program, a business, an orientation program, or whatever it might be, you always need a champion, someone who can create and build this team around them, pass the baton, things of that nature. Curious how that started on your program and what's your recommendation for others moving forward?
Sure. Well, I have to tell you, we were really lucky because our vice president of learning, who's really energetic about just trying new things, she is the one who brought it to the table and was champion for it. So she was instrumental in helping us to actually get the course to be approved as a part of each degree program here on our campus. And so with that, we can ensure that all of our students actually have the proper onboarding. So like I said, we lucked out having her as our champion, and then we really developed our team centered around a lot of student support professionals on campus who had the interest of student success at heart. Over time, then we brought in some folks from our academic areas just to kind of discuss. At community college, it's a little bit unique. You have your career and tech areas, and then you've got your arts and sciences who, they're focusing on getting students transition onto a four-year college, where your career and tech are their students are kind of in a learning community and looking at going out into the workforce. So really gathering feedback from them over time too. We've been able to kind of assemble a team that is attached across the campus, collaborating to help continually improve. So yeah, it's worked really well for us to have this a part of the student services area of the campus.
And I think it leans itself toward the, having everybody have that same vision, right? They're all working toward that same goal. And so having that core group that you mentioned that focused in a certain area of success of students, and then bringing in others that can share that same vision as you move forward is critical, as you mentioned in the white paper, which leads itself to, figuring out that purpose mission, right? So number 3 on the list is, purpose, mission and goals, which internally in the company here we refer to as PMG. You've leveraged it here in yours as well. What is the purpose of this event, this orientation program? What's the mission, and what are the goals? So kind of walk me through what that meant for you in the program and how you referred to it in the paper as well.
Definitely. Our purpose, I think, we all knew in the very beginning, our purpose was to help make sure our students would be successful. And part of that includes a successful onboarding. And so developing a strong orientation program was key. In terms of mission, obviously, we want to make it available to all students. We want to collaborate across campus to make sure the mission fits for everything that we would be delivering across campus. In terms of our goals, I guess looking at data to increase retention and graduation rates, but also a goal of enhancing the student experience at our community college. Students come in, they're a little uneasy, they don't feel connected, different things like that. So the goal was to, make sure we were having an impact on that to give them the best experience possible.
Yeah. And now yours over the years is broadened out, into a program, but, I'm thinking about, a new program just getting started where they have nothing. There's no foundation of a program. I mean, granted, having that as a mission and a purpose and goals can be also daunting. There's this huge elephant in the room. And sometimes it's almost taking that little piece, that little nugget to start with, saying, hey, let's do a one-day orientation. Let's start there. And
Yes.
The purpose of it is this. Here's our mission that we're trying to accomplish in that one-day event. And here are the goals, and here's the outcome we're going to try to measure. And then from there, it transitioned to, hey, that was super successful. We accomplished X. The feedback was this. It moves to maybe 2-day and maybe 4-day. In your case, I know yours has transitioned quite a bit. It's gone to this big program. Now it's narrowing back and, things of that nature, right? So maybe you can speak to that. I mean, how has your program there on your campus transitioned over the years?
Sure. We started out trying to offer it for the first 8 weeks of the semester. Having those facilitators in student services be that student's contact for those 8 weeks, and have them get to know the new students. Then we decided that we needed to offer some flexibility and try to get some information to the students before the term began. So we tried to do 2 Fridays before the semester began. They would need to come in for 2 Fridays to get all of the information that they needed. we ran into a little bit of trouble. Somebody might make it for one Friday and then not the other, and just trying to track that was a little bit crazy. So I think then a year or so later, we were at doing a full 2-day at the very beginning of the semester, like a Thursday, Friday, or something like that. What we found though is we were putting all of this information in front of the students, and it was very hard to know whether or not they were retaining it or benefiting or having, to even gather any feedback from them was a little bit more difficult. So over the last several years, we've been offering it for the full 16 weeks where they meet once a week for 50 minutes. And with that, that came around the time that we looked at using the textbook and the web app. That offered us a structure to piece together a 16-week program that the students could follow along with. They had a student services facilitator that could kind of monitor whether or not they were showing up for the full 16 weeks. If they disappeared at any point in time during that, the facilitator would follow up and say, hey, I see you missed class, or you didn't get a certain assignment done, things like that. That 16-week model has worked pretty well. And we also had to keep our online students in mind. And so we used the web app for the online, which we continue to do that. It works really well. Now, this coming fall, they're looking at a hybrid model just to offer a little bit of a different spin on things where they will meet for 8 hours total in the classroom, and the rest will be over the web. And so we really have to pare down what that face-to-face interaction will include. So it's kind of going to be unique in terms of when you look back at that business plan and that mission, purpose, mission, and goals. Our program's been successful enough that across the campus, lots of folks are saying, oh, that's perfect for college experience class to focus on. That's a perfect thing. So having to really fine tune what it is that we're going to focus on. But yes, over the 10 years, the model has morphed into many different things, and we continue to ask the students, at the end of the semester, do you think this would work best in, an 8-week or a 16-week or a hybrid model? And so surprisingly, we actually had a lot that enjoyed meeting weekly with their facilitators and the rest of the class, meeting new students, that kind of thing. The other thing that's been mentioned is, do we group them with their same major, for example, put all the welding students together, all the auto, all of the gen study students in their own groups. But we've gotten a little bit of feedback on that too, that we were joking in an advisor meeting the other day, and one advisor said, well, it's kind of healthy to mix them up a little bit because some of the welding guys might want to meet a girl someday, that kind of thing. So we had a laugh about that. But those are some things that would need to be kind of considered for a plan.
Yeah, and certainly bringing in the dynamic of as your group expanded over the years, you're getting this different thing. So as us working together, you mentioned utilizing the book as kind of a foundation, and then taking the web app, which is just an electronic version of that book. So now it could be digestible on their phone, their mobile device, whatever it might be. Now integrating it into your learning management system. I mean, it's really providing that content, there. I think I remember in the early stages when, maybe some of the schools we're working with that were utilizing the book, a lot of them didn't put in a lot of the financial sections into their initial thing. Like, we're not going to go over the financial stuff. We're just going to keep on the core. But some of the surveys from some of the clients using it were saying, wow, our students are like, hey, there's chapters in here about credit, debt management, things like that. Why don't we cover that in the class? And you see programs starting to expand out, bringing in the career components, things like that. So you're being more holistic about their full experience at college, because financial is a key component to that, as well as career. Students are going back to community college, or for the first time, because they want to advance their career. They want to launch themselves to another level. I'm sure you've seen that there as well, right?
Definitely. Actually, one of the drivers for us to include the financial focus was to lower default rates for our students, and we've had success with that. Also, we heard the other day there may be some requirements coming down the line that are require colleges to offer financial literacy. So we're glad that we may be ahead of the game on that. In terms of careers, we're getting students trained up with the skill sets that they need, but some of the things that you hear from employers is they don't know how to go out and look for a job. They don't know how to seek out those career services and get their resume and all those things built up. So we are looking at actually sort of a branching opportunity this fall with the course, where some of the content for all the students will be the same, but when we get to the particular time frame when it's time to do what we call student planning, we have them plan out all of their courses through to graduation. Our career and tech students don't have to spend a lot of time on that. Theirs is very defined, so we'll have them branch off to focus on career planning. And the Gen Studies students will branch out to look at transfer to 4-year and what those steps are. So really being able to really meet their needs specifically in the areas of career and those next steps, which we talk about in the book, which is great.
Great. Awesome. Well, one of the next steps, number 4 on this list, as I'm looking down, we brought it up a couple times, which is the funding, and that's always the biggest challenge when you're looking at even just a one-day event to a program like you've created there. It takes money, it takes funding, it takes organization, so, in this process, you really kind of just highlight a high level. It's like, identify the sources, where are they? It's like almost like a grant writing program. So how did you go about the process of funding your programs?
We actually, since we were able to make it as a requirement for their program, we are set up having it as 1 credit course. So we have tuition along with a small fee there, $30 fee. We use that to actually purchase the book and the web app and some other resources that we provide to students so that they don't have any expense on the front end. In terms of the biggest cost is really that facilitator piece. How do you staff it? We have in the fall around 1,000 students, and in the spring maybe about 300 to 400. So that requires a significant number of facilitators depending on what your model looks like. And we just, in utilizing student services professionals, made it a part of their workday. And so in the very beginnings of this, I served as a facilitator, and it was just something that I worked into my day-to-day job. So there wasn't really a facilitator salary to worry about. It was more, we take, and over time, then you kind of build up a fund with that tuition that you're pulling in. And then you could take a look at whether or not you could appoint, a couple of folks to head up the facilitation or leadership of the program.
Gotcha. And then to wrap this up, the number 5 thing on here, which is really kind of the summary of all of it, which is, you list out here a number of questions, that need to be answered. But a lot of it comes from your purpose, mission, goals. What is the purpose? What's the mission? What are your goals? You build out the path to get the answers to those. And that's really your business plan, which is number 5 on your list. And so a number of questions that you've listed out here that should be addressed in that mission plan, but really, the business plan, but really it's trying to put together the resources. So you have this champion saying, hey, we want to do this. Here's the program, so that you can present it to the administration, whoever else might be involved with this to get approval. So give me some insight, tell me about the business plan, thought of this, and how you guys applied it there.
So the business plan, the focus in the white paper is really to provide, what have we had to look at over the last 10 years, provide a nice checklist of things that in the very beginning, maybe you wouldn't consider if you didn't have this checklist. And so going over, are you going to require it of all students? If not, who gets exemption from that? Are you going to make it a credit class, or is it going to be something that happens, prior to the term as a big gathering? Do you want to make it a full semester, half semester? Are you going to offer it online? Are you going to only have it face-to-face? Really looking at who your facilitators are going to be, How are you going to grade students? Here we have a pass-fail model, but I have heard in some research that I have looked at, the letter grade actually helps students, I think, to be a little bit more motivated to put in effort to keep their GPA up once they discover how, they learn in the course about how important GPA is. But so those considerations of how you would grade them, what's your syllabus going to look like, what types of resources will you offer? In ours, we have the book, we have the web app that everyone loads on their phone, we have some online 24/7 workshops that are available. We have a financial literacy software that they all receive a login to that they can use for as long as they want to. And then we have guest speakers on campus. So who are you going to pull in from your campus? Which resources are you going to focus on or help showcase to make sure that students are not afraid to reach out when they do need the help? One of the things is trying to figure out too, which of those items get priority in the timeline for your course. We've kind of gone back and forth on some of that. First day, you want them to know how to get into their student portal and their email and all of those types of things, but students have a hunger for information related to financial aid and how to make sure they're getting their bill paid or paying for books and things like that. So all kinds of different things that you have to weigh out in terms of what your priorities are and who do you need to pull in from across campus to make it all happen. Logistics, classrooms, different things like that are things also to take into consideration.
So there's a lot. This is a lot, as you mentioned. And I know the white paper is a high level view of it, but really, I think any of the discussion points that we've talked about it before is that people have questions on this. I've spoken at a number of events about purpose, mission, and goals, and how to structure that. I've talked at college campuses to departments about how to create a program, a plan, like veteran centers and things of that nature, and getting these things started. So, certainly people watching this can leverage us, answer questions. They're going down a path that we've been down or seen other people. And I've referred a lot of people to other clients and saying, hey, visit with them. They just did this and they're very similar to what you're doing. So don't feel like this is a daunting, you mentioned a lot of different things there. Yeah, those are things because you've experienced them, you've gone through it, and some of the questions you had to answer. But certainly want to tell the people on the video watching it today that there are resources, and we're one of many out there. And we hope that you leverage ours, particularly the white paper, to take advantage of that, but also to consider, Tanya's book. It's been well written, it's been well received in the industry, and certainly happy to provide a copy to those who are interested. Please reach out to us, and we'd be happy to to get you those resources or others to help you out. As we wrap up, Tanya, any additional feedback for the viewers that you think would be a value for them?
Definitely. If there's one thing that I can stress with as you develop this program is really developing a program that matches your students well. And that goes back to how you and I met, Terry. I was really looking for resources that would speak to my community college students versus students who are at a university, to their specific needs. And that was one of the reasons that we developed the book, that would have some of those focuses. So making sure that however you put it together, that you're able to fit it to your audience, find resources that do fit. And in community college, we've got traditional and non-traditional students with a wide range of backgrounds, and just making sure that you are able to research what's going to fit for them, and that it is all doable. And do definitely lean on those experts in the field, because no sense in recreating the wheel.
Exactly. Well, perfect. Well, I thank you for putting together this white paper. I think it's an incredible resource. I think the industry is going to be well received, and it's certainly going to help out many, many students. So congratulations on getting that out, and thank you for your time and sharing that with us today.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, and be sure everybody visit collegetransitionpublishing.com. There's other videos. Another one Tanya's created for us back a couple of years ago with the release of the book, as well as some of her peers that are written other publications for us. So visit that. find our resources, take advantage of those, and certainly let us know if we can be of assistance.